So you guys, welcome to Cozy Breakfast Club. Yay!
Yay! Big round of applause for yourselves.
We see some regular faces and some new faces in the audience, and I hope we see some new faces out watching us on Facebook too.
I hope so too. Some new names.
Some new names. Cozy Breakfast Club meets monthly. Usually it's on the third Saturday. This is the fourth Saturday because of, guess what?
Road to
California was last week and we couldn't do it. Even if we wanted to. There's just no way. So as being the first episode of the new semester, we're going to launch into brand new products. Projects. Project. No.
Products too.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's fine. New things.
New things.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm just going to take over with the first one.
Okay.
I think you shall.
Shall I just do that?
We'll push you over here.
Okay.
And you go, girl.
Okay, well, I'm just actually going to get out of the way because we can show off the quilt.
Oh, okay. I do that.
And that's going to be my whole presentation. Let's just let the quilt do the work. So the project I want to share with you today is called Bel Canto. And actually, we're calling it Bel Canto Coda, and I'll tell you about that in just a second. So we happen to have the finished quilt. I cannot guarantee we will always have this finished quilt. This is fabrics from Riley Blake Designs, and they are letting us borrow this quilt. I begged and pleaded, please, can I have it at least for the first session of Breakfast Club so that we can show it off. Somebody says it is a local quilt shop day. Woohoo! So you guys are ahead of the game. What we are showing is Bel Canto Coda, which starts with 2.5-inch strips. So this is a 2.5-inch strip block of the month project. In addition to the 2.5-inch strips, there are 4 background fabrics in our quilt. You can also do it with 1 background fabric, and I'll tell you more about that in just a second. It looks complicated. It is not. It only looks complicated because there's a lot of different pieces. Each of those pieces we'll do once a month, make as many as we need, and then the final month we're going to put it all together. You can see, like this month we're going to do the plus block. The plus block is in the center of the quilt, and it's also is a couple other places like here, and then down here, and then equally on the quadrants. Did you see it? I feel like Vanna right now.
You are.
Just flip right there. So this is going to be the plus block. So this is 1 month. Another month we'll do this block, as many as it takes for the quilt. Another month we'll do this block. This is how it's going to go until we have all of our blocks complete. It is a king-size quilt, but don't worry. It's easier to put together than most king-size quilts because I'm going to have you do a quadrant at a time. So from here over to here is a quadrant, and they're identical. There are 4 identical quadrants. We're going to sew the quadrant together, which you can think of as a small quilt. I'm going to make 4 exactly the same. And then when we sew them together, we're going to add the column down the center and the row down the middle to put it all together.
Hence the vocabulary.
What?
The column and the row. Very good.
Oh, thank you. I'm using proper words today. All right, so you can see that it's not going to be too difficult to sew together. I know sometimes when you look at a king size quilt, you think you're going to have to you're going to lay out all of those pieces.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have to bring them to your sewing machine, sew the row, make sure you get it right, and then sew the next row, and then sew those 2 together. It's going to be easier than that. We're going to break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces.
Nice.
Sound exciting?
One size, right?
The one size, it's the king size, 110 by 110. Oh, and then there's borders. And it does start with 2.5-inch strips. So if you are going to do this project, you need to collect 2.5-inch strips. Let's talk about the details of this quilt. So first I'm going to give you a great intro. Are you fixing Winter over there? Yeah. You just don't like it? She's fluffing.
Oh, just showing.
All right. I have put some slides together for you. So first is fabric requirements. You will need 91 strips. 91 2.5-inch strips. It can come from a jelly roll, a bally pop. It can come from your scraps. 91 strips means 3 jelly rolls of 40. So if you're buying a jelly roll, you're going to want to have 3 jelly rolls of 40 strips, or whatever the math is, 5 jelly rolls of 20. So just collect your 91 strips. Let's talk about strips for a second. And the quilt that we have behind me, do you mind? There's a lot of it's a lot of blues and then some background fabrics. the blues, the strips, don't have a lot of color that matches the background. So I highly recommend that you avoid strips that are going to be the same, that have the same color as your background fabric, because then it'll look like you have holes in your quilt. What I mean by that is if this strip here if this strip here had a lot of dots or designs that had the same color as here, it would look like there's holes in that piece. So I would avoid using strips that have a lot of fabric similar to your backgrounds. I say that specifically because some jelly rolls have all of the values in them, and many of them are lights. Those lights, if you're going to use a light background fabric, you should put aside for another project and only focus on the darker ones that continue to have good contrast with your background. So now we can
need to get 4 jelly rolls.
So you might need to get 4 jelly rolls. But you know, 3 jelly rolls, 3 times 40 is what, 120? And you need 91 strips, so you do have some play in your jelly rolls. Let's go back to the fabric requirements. In addition, we have in this quilt 4 background fabrics, an A, a B, a C, and a D. And then we have the border 1, we have a star in border 2, and border 2. So it's not that many fabrics to purchase. Also helpfully will be the strip tube ruler, and we will talk about that in the next few blocks, not in today's block. Today is all about intro and that first block. All right, so I have this. This is a fabric key, so this is right out of the pattern. But on this graphic, you can see the fabrics we used in our quilt. So those fabrics are not in the pattern. If you're interested in getting the fabric key that includes the fabrics we're using in our quilt, you can download that on our website, and I'll tell you more about that in a second. What I've done is popped in the fabrics we're using for fabric A, background A, B, C, and D. This gives you a good visual. And I know when you're going to pick your own fabrics, you would like to know where those fabrics will be placed. So I've worked on that for you. Okay, here's the overall layout.
It's a good graphic.
Good graphic, she says. Yes. You can see now all of the different placements. These are the same colors in, that we will use in the graphics in the pattern. Now next. Okay, this is the beautiful quilt. This is the photographer's picture. Sweet Nancy already said to me today, it looks so much better in person.
Yes.
And instead of saying thank you, I said, I know. I wish everybody could see it in person. I wish you could. Oh wait, you're going too fast. All right, so this is the beautiful quilt we're working on. Okay, now you can go to the next slide. All right, this was the original. Originally, this pattern was written as 7 different standalone patterns. Each one came with the step you need to make the block of the month, plus a bonus quilt. Or, rephrased, it came with a quilt and the bonus steps for the block of the month. But you had to buy 7 separate patterns. In the end, you got 8 different quilts. I have consolidated all of that now into one pattern, and that's why we call it Bel Canto Coda. Bel Canto Coda only has 7 steps to complete this one quilt. It's synthesized, much easier to read. So if you're interested in doing this project, or if the previous one was a little daunting, you want to buy Bel Canto Coda. I'm not going to give you all of the instructions and all of the details here during this presentation. You have to buy the pattern to do this, so that's what you want. Bel Canto Coda. Now coda, Bel Canto is a musical term. Coda is the resolution of a song. I hope I'm correct. I looked, yes, okay, good. I thought it was fitting because this is the resolution of this project. One pattern, one quilt. So this beautiful quilt here was the original one that we did, step by step. You can do this sort of quilt or the one we have behind us with this same Bel Canto Coda pattern. So here's a better look at background A. You can see with the yellow highlights, this is where you will see background A. Background B. So background B probably is your most used background. Okay, C. Just little pops of color here and there. And in our fabrics, some of them, there's not a lot of difference between them. It's just a very subtle difference. And it's to create a blended, scrappier look for the quilt. And then background D, just in 4 little places. Background D. So I think this is very helpful if you're picking your own fabrics. If you'd like to use the fabrics that we have here, they are Riley Blake design fabrics. You can ask your local quilt shop, or you can buy the kit from us, and I'll give you the website here in a second. But if you are picking your own fabrics, I think that is very helpful. Here is our Christmas one that uses one background. So now one background gives it a more defined look. We did this in Christmas, and these were jelly rolls. You can see here a little bit about what I'm talking about. Some of the strips have a little bit of white speckle in them, and it kind of gives it a lacy look. It doesn't look like it has holes in it, because it's just here and there, and there's only one background. I believe we have this quilt here in person.
Yes, we do.
It is huge.
Somehow. There we go.
And once again, it's prettier in person. Right? If you're not hearing that on camera, there's a lot of wow. Wow.
Oh, we got it all in, Bel.
That's over here. Yeah, I like red.
Pretty quilting. The quilting is a quilter's niche digitized design, and I'll put the information in the comments below. So 2.5-inch strips. That's why we love this project so much. It's just 2.5-inch strips, background, and borders to make this quilt. I think if I were to do it again, I would use a different color for the
the
star in the corners, because I think it gets lost with all them. With the values aren't great enough. The difference. So Bel Canto with one background color. Good? All right, let's see what else my slides say. I did all my thinking ahead of time, because it's a true statement that you go stupid in front of people, and it's a true statement that I go stupid in front of people and in front of the camera.
Is this true statement?
Okay, so here we go. Now, this is where all the background's going to be if you just use one background.
There we go.
All right, I will tell you there is a graphic typo in the pattern. Oh no! We try really hard, you guys. Sometimes it happens, but it's nothing. The instructions are all correct, and we've made this quilt, and the error was read over, so I'm sure you would read over it too. But I want to tell you, on page 4, step 4, page 1, it'll look like, see the X. It'll look like the background is sort of this bluer one, which is background C, but it actually is the peachier one, background D. So just make a note of that. You can also download this errata from our webpage. So I think that is the next graphic, if I'm smart enough. Yay! Go to cozyquilt.com, search for Bel Canto Coda, and you can download both that fabric requirements page, or the swatch sheet with our swatches, and the errata, so you can complete your pattern with that information. It's all ready for you. What else do we have? All right, let's talk about picking fabrics. Since you're starting with 2.5-inch strips, you're going to make a scrappy quilt. You don't really have to worry about fabric placement, except for just a couple of things. The first thing is, if you would like to create sort of an arrow effect in the center of your quilt, you want to pick out those fabrics now. The very middle, the plus, I already told you the plus is going to be the first block. The plus, you want to pick out something that maybe pops if you want to create the arrow effect for block 1. And then the surrounding blocks, north, south, east, west, they're block 4. So you want to set matching things aside for block 4. Can we go to the quilt so you can see what I'm talking about? Now, do you see that there's a giant plus behind me? Over my left shoulder are arrows. So if you want to duplicate this look, you want to set aside the fabrics you want to use for both the plus, and then this little part here, make it the matching fabric. You want to set those aside for block 4. This is the only time you need to think and worry about your fabric selections. Everything else will be scrappy. By the way, this is background fabric, so we already have that set aside, and it'll match the blocks that surround it here and here. All right, so there's your plus. I know it's helpful sometimes to see what other people do. So I took pictures along the way how I arranged all of my fabrics. So I'll show you those pictures. I'll tell you, we only had, what, 3 weeks to make this quilt?
Oh my gosh.
Make it, quilt it, bind it, ship it. 3 weeks. Because we were doing this for a Riley Blake design, and it was going to be at market. And we really wanted it at market. So we parsed this out to various different people. And then brought it back. Somebody put it all together, somebody else quilted it and bound it, so we wanted to stay very organized. Okay, so here's how I sorted things out. If you are working step 1, if you are working with our fabrics and you want the same effect, this is what you can do. Step 1 for strips, this beautiful blue fabric with sort of these swirly things on it, which looks like feathered quilting, doesn't it? Becomes the plus, and then the lighter blue becomes the 5 patch. The 5 patch is not as critical. That plus is really the critical one. Okay, so we set those aside for step 1, strips for the center. Do you like how I put the Sharpie and the notepad in there to make it look like I really did this?
Yes. Yes.
All right, next one. Step 4. So now we're going to set aside the fabrics for step 4. Go with the center block. We have that same blue with the swirly design pattern. We're going to need 2 of each set aside for step 4. After that, we're just going to arrange them by steps. If you have any strips that have a lighter value, I recommend putting them in the plus square, which is step 1. That way they don't create as many holes. So lighter value ones, or values that match your background. That's a better way to state it. Any values that match your background, I recommend in the plus. Other than that, it's scrappy. Have a good time with your strips and enjoy. So here's what we put aside for step 1. We have the plus set aside, and then we have additional strips. And now here's what I put aside for step 2. They're just strips. Step 3, you'll use a couple of different background fabrics and strips. So if you need to be organized and this is helpful for you, here you go. Step 4, remember we parsed this out to different people that made the blocks and brought them back to us. So I had to be particular about where things, make sure the cuts were right and the number of strips were correct. And here's that, sorry, go back to step 4. So here are those blue strips that we're going to feature in step 4 for the ones that go around the center block. And then we have step 5, and then we have step 6. So if you want to sort your fabrics, there you go. That's how we did it. Very simple. What's next? All right. Let's get on with step 1. Step 1 is very, very easy. It's just a plus. I will have she got lost. Well, you're hard to find around this place. I have gone in circles sometimes looking for you.
For me?
Yes, you. Yeah.
I know. That
I
happens.
thought she was in the kitchen. Oh, no, maybe she's out on the sales floor. Oh, no, maybe she's in the classroom.
Well, I'm hiding from you. I'm walking and sitting back there going, oh, there she is. I'll run the other way. No, I
believe it.
No, I really don't. Anyway. Hi, girl. We have a whole crowd of everybody today.
It's a new semester. Fresh new start.
Is it oatmeal day?
Oh, it's oatmeal. That's what.
We should have the oatmeal every time, and then they'll all show up, right?
Careful what you promise.
Thank you. It's old-fashioned oatmeal. That's what you got to cook.
So we had legit breakfast club today. You should see the spread.
Everything. Yeah.
It was the whipping cream that put it over there.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. The heavy whipping cream.
Pouring the heavy whipping cream into the
Half and half if I'm lucky.
Yeah. Or 2% milk.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
It just doesn't do it.
No, it's not quite the same. Kathy is going to be here in a second.
She's going to be here.
Yeah. She's
We are live. We got people tuning in already. Debbie Momart says she's back from Japan.
Oh my gosh. How
back
fun.
in Ohio from Japan.
Good.
Patty can't come in because her stomach's not so good. I'm sorry, Patty.
Sorry, Patty. We saw her yesterday. She was quilting like crazy. Yeah,
as she does. Oh, look at our friendly faces. That's cute.
We have, we really do have a lot of people.
Can you hear the? There's hugging. There's chatter. It's fine. You guys don't mind for now.
No, they'll be okay. We'll make them stop later.
Bobby Moore says hello from Arizona. Wish we were there.
Aww.
We got hi from Poway, Pat. And got register. Rita says hi, ladies. I am so excited to show this quilt off today.
Good.
Yes.
I'm excited to show all the stuff we have. We have a lot of stuff.
Ooh, can I show something before?
Sure. Yes.
Okay.
There she is.
The baby discovered books are for reading, not just for eating.
How cute.
Oh my God. Look at him.
Doesn't he look like he's reading the Wall Street Journal?
Yeah, I think he is.
I got a picture of Garrett like the newspaper.
That is way cute.
Hi, darling.
It's an autobiography.
That is so adorable.
Well, I show you since we're doing this.
Did you already eat the corner though?
Oh yeah, can you see it? Can you see that he ate the corner? Here
He ate the corner.
Let's see.
Of course they do. He needs.
There you
He needed fiber, a little fiber.
He did eat the corner, a little fiber. That's very funny. But then up in the up in our memories came this picture from exactly 1 year ago.
Gosh, look at him.
Don't you love it when those memories pop up?
I do.
Yes.
I do. And this was fun because Rick is usually the one. This is Rick, my husband. There's Mama in the background, and then of course that's the baby.
Yeah.
Rick is usually the one that sends out the memories, but this time this one popped up, and I'm like, I'm gonna send this one out.
It's adorable.
Look at that face! How he's looking at Granddad.
Now he's reading the Wall Street
Now he's
Journal.
reading. Oh, they grow up so fast.
You know.
Be buying stock soon.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Silence your cell phones, please. Not you guys. You guys online. You're
good.
You're fine.
They might not be able to hear you if they're watching.
I know. Don't silence it if you're watching.
Turn it up.
See, okay, wait. Mo in the middle. See, we got
Black and white.
what's your name, Bev? Bev said Mo didn't get the memo to wear the white jacket. I'm like, wait for it. Because she's wearing the denim.
Yeah, denim black.
Denim black, and then she got the cream on blue, and then I got the white on blue.
Well, there we go. And we did not coordinate this.
We did not.
Yeah. So
we could be spread from a catalog.
I'm ready.
Just waiting for that agent to call with my
I know.
offer.
I was hoping you need an old person to be on a catalog. I'll be there. Anyway, probably not. Anyway, so we're here.
We're here.
Breakfast Club.
Woohoo! Breakfast Club. Yay!
Made it back from road to California.
Yes, we did.
Are we recovered?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Ready to go. When do we go next?
When do we go next? Listen to that. I did have to fill out the survey and request to do it again. So I did say yes, put me in to do it again.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. We had a good time. It's a lot of work, you guys.
It is a lot of work.
Oh my goodness. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But you know what? Special shout out to the extra people who helped us.
Oh my gosh.
Becky and her husband, they stayed after the last day. They hung out. They helped us tear down.
Yes.
And then they helped us unload. So, I mean, what time did we get home? 9:30, 10?
Yeah.
We got home about 9:30.
We got home about 9:30 on that last day. But we tore down the booth, loaded up the truck, drove the truck back, unloaded it here. I had to set up the POS and sync that, which takes quite a bit of work.
Yeah.
That is my biggest and only true responsibility at road. And then we were home with the family by 9:30.
I know.
We made a full-on dinner.
Well, he made me some dinner too. Yeah, he said, "Oh, you got to eat." He didn't know what we ate all week. Anyway,
A lot of stuff.
We didn't suffer.
no. It was a great time.
It was a great time.
show.
And the
Good time.
energy from the people that were attending was just contagious.
Yes.
People were so happy to be back.
To be out spending and doing and seeing all
And
this stuff.
enjoying and loving, and we hugged and we laughed and we made new friends and caught up with old
even
friends.
made reunions.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, we did.
Yeah.
didn't we?
Yes.
Can we tell the story?
Yes.
Okay, there was one customer that came up and she had a mask on. We didn't recognize her or know her. She's like, "You don't know me." I'm like, "Okay, good, because I don't." She said, "You don't know me, but I know one of your customers. We used to be best friends, but we've fallen out of touch. Blah blah blah. Name." And then we said, and I don't want to say the name because. Then Kathy was like, "Oh, you mean blah 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 so and so?" She's like, "Yeah." So we.
I had just ran into her in the aisle.
Oh, yeah, we had seen her.
So the friend was like, "If you could reach out to her, I'd really like to connect again." And so we took down her information, and I'm like, "Oh, let's just call our customer." So Kathy's like, "But I don't know her number."
Oh, well.
I'm like, "Well, I'll give it to you."
Computer.
I'll look it up. So we reached out a couple of times, and our customer didn't answer. And then, like on the third time, she did answer. And
Because she didn't know me. She's like, "Who's calling? I don't know you."
so our sweet new friend in the mask, who we don't know, she's filling out the information. Well, her old friend starts walking up.
It was great.
I mean,
And they were
I'm
like-
gonna cry just telling the story. And then they saw each other, and they both cried.
I guess
Because
the customer was in her wedding
Yeah.
years and years ago.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah,
That was great.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was just lovely.
But she knew she was affiliated with you because her name was in a book. Quilting.
Oh, is that how she
that
knew
why?
she was?
Yes, the friend said.
So here,
That's what
this new breaking news just came in.
Breaking news.
Our new friend, who we didn't know, knew we were affiliated with the customer, who we do know, because she contributed to a book. And so her name was in there, and so her friend saw it, so she came to us. Oh my God. I like it even
It's
more.
better and better. Oh my God. Yeah. That was great. That was so great.
degrees of cozy separation.
Yep. It was a fun time.
So if you make plans, you guys, like put it in your calendar for next year. If you are traveling, even if you're not traveling, highly recommend you go up to Ontario, stay there for a night or two, enjoy the show, have an easy drive back or an easy flight out. For those people who live in Canada, the East Coast or the Midwest, it's warmer in California.
Absolutely. And we unloaded without rain. We got a little rain when we unloaded, which was fantastic.
Yes.
Because it's poured before.
Yes.
So it was a good time.
It was a good time.
We dodged the rain. Very good.
Yeah.
So I think the organizers of Road to California are brilliant for a couple of reasons, but one of them is that they do it in January when we are ready to get back to quilting because Christmas is over and put away.
Right.
And then they do it in Southern California when people who are cold need an excuse to come travel.
Right.
It was cold to us.
Yeah.
Because we're not used to the
Yeah, 'cause
snow.
we're not used to it.
60 is cold.
60 is
for
cold. We're going to have people argue that point here in just a moment.
Yeah. And then they had the air
60?
conditioning on.
That's shorts weather. Yeah, and then they have the air conditioning on. Anyway, good show. Thank you all first, because it's a lot of work. It's work before, after, and for everybody that put the stuff away here.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. They've all worked so hard and getting ready to go to the road.
Yeah.
They've been doing a lot. So.
Takes a cozy village.
It does. A very large one.
Very large one.
We got it.
Betty cups with your names on them.
No, isn't this okay? These are gifts.
Very cute.
Kathy has one too.
I have a pink one.
Yes.
I didn't bring it.
Because these are our designated colors.
Pink.
So it's a Yeti, and it keeps it hot when you have the lid on it. It's a new
It's just
miracle.
fantastic. My name is spelled correctly, which means the world.
Yeah.
I hear ya.
You don't ever get to see my name in the souvenir shop
No.
with the key rings. My name is never there.
Or spelled wrong.
Or it's spelled, well, then it's not my name. And then the aqua and teal, which is...
Yep. And mine got green, and she got pink.
Green.
Yeah.
Mine's pink.
It's a trend here. Some nice lady gave us these.